Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, I found a story this morning that really, as soon as I came across it, it grabbed me. It's a story that bothered me quite a bit. I watched the video over and over again, and I can't believe what I'm seeing. When I do a video here, I've told you guys, I look for two things. I look for a video that grabs me, that makes me feel, emotion, happy, sad, angry, whatever. And the second thing I look for is some way I could relate to the whatever's happening in the article. Has it happened to me before? Something I could talk about, something I could share with you guys, so I could form an opinion. And today's story it's troubling, just to say the least. It made me very angry when I read it. I was appalled when I watched this video. The links will be down below, and just disbelief of what was happening in this video, because it's not the way that I grew up. I can't imagine myself or another male doing what this young boy was doing in this video. And I've got a pleasant way. I'm glad, because I thought back to the way, how I could relate to this video. And I remembered something that happened in my younger days when I believe I was 13 years old. And I'm going to tell you guys about that. That's how I'm going to relate to this video. All right, so the incident I'm talking about, it happened in Kansas City, Kansas, at Shawnee Mission East High School. This just happened on November 27th. At 11 a.m. This was just a day or two ago, and it's probably going to be in the news quite a bit. Okay, so there's two videos down below. There'll be about 3 articles. I think the best videos are on the Atlantic. I think it's called the Atlanta Star down below, the Atlanta Black Star. I'm sorry, and I think it's actually got 2 videos. It shows you what happens before this actual incident. And I got to be kind of because I want to keep this video monetized, I got to be kind of careful the way I describe this. So the best thing for you to do is watch the video. And I got to warn you, it's appalling. It's shocking. Okay, so there's 2 videos. The first one opens up, and you see what happens before this incident. There's a young black girl. I believe her name is Bree. I believe she's 15 years old. It says she's due to graduate. Her and the other people in this video are going to graduate in 2026. And she's angry. She's talking to 2 other girls, 2 white girls, and she's angry. And it appears that they were referring to her in an offensive manner. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And she's telling them, she's like, you've said this to me before. She's laying it down. She's like, she's not going to put up with it anymore. It bothers her. It's not right. And she's telling these 2 girls, and the 2 girls walk away as she's talking. And she says, she's of course, she's like, fine, just walk away while I'm talking to you. And she says, next time, say it to my face. Okay, so the other girls are walking down the hallway. That's when this is where I see a young white boy get involved, and he says something very offensive. Like I said, I can't repeat most of this stuff that happened in this video, but he says, "Shut up." And then he uses a very offensive term. And here's where I just can't believe what I'm seeing. He comes marching up the hallway, and the black girl turns around to confront him. She's more or less walking towards him, but he is just marching with his fists up in the air. And he first thing he does is strikes her. And then there's an altercation. Like I said, I have to be careful the way I describe this. The best thing for you guys to do is watch the video. Now, here's what happened. Here's the result of that altercation. The Bree ended up in the hospital. The young black girl ended up in the hospital she's still in the hospital now for 5 days. She's going to be in the hospital. And both students were suspended here. And there's, of course, there's an outrage. I think there was a walkout at this school. The black students walked out. I'm sure it wasn't just black students that walked out of this high school. So, like I said, the first thing that struck me, or that appeared to me, it just amazed me that when I grew up, my father told me never, ever, you never take the first swing, never start a fight, always walk away if you can. And then he taught me how to fight if I have to. But the one of the rules was you a man does not hit a woman. If you hit a woman, you are not a man. And my father died when I was 9. I still remember him teaching me to fight and telling me this. I have never, ever struck any woman in my life, ever, ever. I don't think I could. I've told the girls I dated, like when I first started dating girls, I would tell them, or women, I would tell them that, that I don't do that, and I don't expect to get hit. If a woman hits me, I leave the relationship. I won't put up with being hit. Mostly because I don't know, I won't hit back, and I don't know what would happen if I kept getting hit. So I don't tolerate that. I won't be in a relationship where there's physical violence, and I've told women that before. And like I said, it's watching this boy, this person. I have a hard time even calling him male. Walk up and do this to this girl is just appalling. And then when you put on top of that, what this young man was saying, and I look at the parents. I do, because like I said, I was taught never to do this, and I never did do it. I physically couldn't do it, and I started thinking back to when I was younger. So this is where the video changes. And I thought back, there was about, honestly, here in Connecticut, this high school I went to was mostly white. I think there was probably about a total of maybe 6 or 7 at the most black students. Probably about 3 girls and maybe about 6 or 7, 3 black girls and 3 black boys. Now here's where the video gets uplifted. The very first time I ever kissed a girl. I've told you guys before, what happened to me when I was younger. I'm not going to get into that. And I told you about how I dated, the first girlfriend I had was Audrey, but that was a very innocent relationship when I was in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. And we kind of split up around 7th or 8th grade when I was 12 or 13. I remember when I broke my leg, we split up. The first girl I ever kissed was a black girl. It was a girl named Georgia. Very first kiss ever. And I still remember how exciting. I remember fondly because it was just a kiss. It was just a very passionate, long kiss. And I still remember how it was it was probably the most exciting encounter I've ever had with a woman, any encounter. And it was just a kiss. It was just that first kiss. And it was, like I said, my very first kiss ever. It was a black girl. Her name was Georgia. And I remember being in art class when we were 13 years old. And we were sitting next to each other. And she'd always look at me and smile. She was Jamaican. And I loved the way she talked. She had the Jamaican accent. And, we'd flirt around in art class. And one night, on a Friday night, me and my best friend, Andrew, we walked down to the drive-in, was within walking distance to my house. So we went out on a Friday night. I think we were supposed to be home by 10 or 11. We got in trouble because we weren't home at 10 or 11. And we'd walk to the drive-in, and we'd sneak in on foot at 13 years old. So we'd sneak in, and then we would sit on top of the generator where the movie comes out of the concession stand, and it would come up over our heads, and we'd sit like on the generator and watch the movie at the back of the drive-in. And we were doing this one Friday night, and I see somebody walking up at intermission to go to the concession stand, and it's Georgia. And she comes up and she's like, "Hi, how are you doing?" And right away we had this chemistry. And my friend Andrew's sitting there, and he kind of excuses himself. He looks at me and he smiles, and he kind of walks away and goes to the concession stand. So it's just me and Georgia. And I don't even remember how it started, but this was my very first kiss ever. Very first time I ever kissed a girl. Or anybody, I guess, ever in my life. And next thing I know, I was standing up, and she was a tall girl. She was well developed for a girl, and we were kissing passionately it just seemed forever. And I just remember my whole body was like electrified, and I could feel her against me, and I still remember that. Here's where I got concerned. After a few minutes, I asked her, I was like, "Well, who are you with? Why, how'd you get here?" And she said, "Oh, I'm with my mother and father and my 2 brothers." And they're in the car, and they send me back to the concession stand. So right then, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna freaking die, because I just realized at that moment the concession, the intermission's almost over. She hasn't even gotten the stuff for her family yet at the concession stand. They're going to be coming back anytime now, and I am kissing their daughter and or their sister, and not to mention a white Native American white boy, and she's a black girl, So I think, oh my God, I'm going to die at the back of this theater today. And we separated, and she went her way, and I went my way. And I still remember, for a couple of months after that, we would walk to the local library. I'd come from one side of the town, she'd come from the other side of town, and we'd meet at the library, and we'd sit there, and we would, we'd sneak kisses sitting at a conference table, like in the back of the library. And I still remember the librarians. I can't believe the librarians never said anything to us. I mean, not because of our races or anything, but just because we were like 13 or 14-year-old kids going at it in the library. And I don't remember them ever saying anything to us. Maybe that's why they didn't say anything. They were scared to say anything. But it only lasted for for a few months, and she went her way. I saw her years later when I was in my 20s at a local mall. And I thought I recognized her, and she recognized me. And I was like, Georgia. And she's like, Daryl. And we gave each other a big hug. And she told me how she was married with a couple of kids and everything. And, I wasn't. And it was nice seeing her again. Yeah, my very first kiss ever. So I just looked at this video. And I really think it has so much to do with the parents. It does, because I could never imagine. Even the racism is unimaginable, but actually, getting physical with a girl was is another thing that I couldn't even imagine. I think that's got a lot to do the way with this boy was raised. It says a lot about his parents and the home he came from, because I had a completely different experience, and it was much more pleasant. I guarantee you that. All right, like I said, the links will be down below. I wanted to end this video on a higher note, and I'm glad I did. The links will be down below to the videos. I'll put those right on top, and the articles will be down below. You guys have a good Wednesday.